There's a couple of times we see mental breakdowns where people think they're in the Matrix.
Yeah, like Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get all those taters after us again.
Hater taters.
Hater taters. Welcome to the Redacted Apostate. My name is Nicole.
And I'm Carl.
And there is a story in the news that has some cult ties that I thought was really interesting. Piqued my interest.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Hannah. That's a really stupid way to say it, but it's a Hannah Kobayashi. And she has been missing now for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we'll kind of go over the timeline of what has happened with her. They still haven't been able to locate her. And
where was she from?
So she's from Hawaii, and she has ties kind of indirectly to a cult called the Twin Flames.
Oh, wait a minute. We've talked about the Twin Flames before, haven't we?
Not on this podcast. I mean,
I think we've kind of talked around them.
Yeah, in a roundabout way, referencing them. But the Twin Flames cult is a Zoom cult.
Okay.
I think we've talked to them in the context of how technology is being used for cults.
Right.
I know that Jehovah's Witnesses are leaning heavily into online Zoom and media to get their message out.
Right.
A lot more so than they are door to door, like they used to be in the oldie times.
Ye oldie times, yeah. Yeah. So when you say like a Zoom cult, I'm assuming that it's just they do most of their messaging, like Profundity Yours, where most of their stuff was Zoom until they got their land, and then they haven't been doing Zoom anymore.
Well, I think they do, but it's very private. So it's like, you know how cults are circles within circles?
Yeah.
So there's that exterior circle of the cult, and then as you get more money and as you give more time, you get into the inner circles of cults.
Right.
So that like at the end you're on a Zoom call 18 hours out of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the cult leader messaging you in their ear.
Watching you.
Are you on Zoom?
What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you working? Are you working now? So internet sleuths, which is one of my favorite term I learned from Baby Reindeer.
Oh,
Internet sleuths. Internet sleuths found the connection. I don't really know if Hannah Kobayashi, if she really had any interest in the Twin Flames cult, or if it was just on her peripheral that she knew somebody who was involved in the cult.
Right. What are the Twin Flames cult? Like, why is it called Twin Flames? Do we know why?
Yes. The Twin Flames, they believe that you have a perfect soulmate match. Like you and I would be twin flames, even though mathematically that's absolutely ridiculous. Like I could be with, I don't know, maybe 2 other men. Like there's not one person. There's
you mean at the same time, or? What are we talking about here?
I don't even know what we're talking about. Like I could be with a lot of different.
In other words, what you're saying is that there's not one perfect.
Soulmate, yeah.
Yeah. That there's at least 2 to 3 other people out there that can stand to live with me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are
because that's really what it is. It isn't that like there's perfect, compatibility. It's just who can stand to live with me.
What do they say in Deadpool? Your crazy matches my crazy.
Yeah. There you go.
And there are 8 billion people on this planet.
There's got to be at least one other person.
There's got to be a couple that your crazy matches their crazy and they are attracted to you.
Yes. Or can stand living with you.
Stand being around you. Like not everything they do irritates you enough to make you want to leave.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that's really our entire relationship.
Exactly.
Is your eye twitching? Sorry.
A little bit. We were watching something where they were saying where you could stand where the hair is in the drain and you don't want to kill them.
Yes, and I don't remember what it was what we were watching, but
that's a good way to describe.
That was the reference that that you can find their hairs in the drain.
And you don't want to kill them.
Yeah.
Or run away screaming.
Yes.
But the twin flames, they don't believe that.
They believe that there's a perfect person out there for you. And let me guess, this is known only by the cult leader, and that they are the ones that maneuver people to be perfect twin flames.
Okay, well, that's not how it started. How it started was that they would find their perfect twin flame. And the cult leader would tell them, this is your perfect twin flame. And then that person would get arrested for stalking because the other part of the twin flame was like, I don't think so. And the one person would say, no, but you are my perfect twin flame.
Wasn't this in Rick and Morty?
Probably.
Love Finders?
Yeah.
Jebediah?
You're my soulmate. Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Now you're my soulmate. Yeah. Okay. So, and that's how it started. Well, then when people started getting arrested for following the cult leader's advice by being a complete douchewagon, then he would say, oh, no. Your twin flame is actually this person who is already in the cult.
That's convenient.
Yeah. And then they would get together and they would be like, this is the scummiest person I've ever met. How could this be my twin flame? And he's like, do not question my authority. And then he would be like, okay, you're with this other lady and she's a man now. And they would regender people. Wow. I mean, these guys are, for a Zoom cult, they're probably one of the worst in terms of mental harm.
Yeah. I can see this.
Forcing arranged marriage already is a problem, but
when is it going to go to animals next? You know, like your soulmate is a pig in North Dakota.
Do not question my authority. It's like, you're a slimy piece of shit, Mr. Twin Flames cult leader. And
the Jehovah's Witnesses did that too, to a degree. Well,
they didn't have arranged marriage.
They didn't have arranged, but they definitely were trying to arrange, you know, because it's a limited selection.
It's a limited selection. Yeah. So you only have...
It's the whole idea that you have to date someone that's within the group. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the Twin Flames were not like that.
Yeah.
You could date someone who is not in their group.
As long as the cult leader said that was your...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that other person who is not in the cult was like, I don't want to be a part of your cult. And don't I get a say in this twin flame business?
No. Because it's written that this is your soulmate. And how do I know? Science.
But it makes sense that Hannah Kobayashi would be interested in a cult like that, because if you look at the timeline of when she went missing, it kind of aligns with her to be lured in by this cult. So if we go by the timeline, she is on a flight. This is where this whole story is so confusing and so convoluted. Yeah. It also reminds me of the story of Eliza Lamb, who went missing in the Cecil Hotel.
Yes.
And
which is freaky.
That whole story, before they found her, was really scary. It was like, what happened to this girl? She just went missing. And then the way they found her.
So the story about Miss Lamb is that it was really weird. So in the Cecil Hotel, which is already haunted, she went missing, and they found footage of her like in the elevator. Thank you. And she was pressing the button, and she leaned up against it, and she kept looking out like someone was after her. And then that was it. That was the footage that they found.
And then they couldn't find her.
That's what I mean. Like they couldn't find her. Sorry. Yeah. That's what I meant to say. They couldn't find her. They only had that footage. And then they eventually did find her, and she was in the water of the hotel. She was in the water tower of the hotel at the top. So people had been basically showering and
brushing their teeth,
drinking her. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really horrific what happened. And we've watched a few things about her. We think it was psychological, that she just had an episode and was thinking that someone was after her, and then she found a spot that she could hide and then couldn't get out again. of it because of the way it was designed.
Yeah. It reminds me a whole lot of Hannah Kobayashi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Hannah Kobayashi, she got on a flight
Excuse me.
from Hawaii to Los Angeles. And then from Los Angeles, they were going to go to New York City. But right before this trip, she broke up with her boyfriend. And they were taking this trip together.
Oh, ooh. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So they had broken up, but the tickets were non-refundable. So they had to go. They went through with it.
Wait, he went with her?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
They were both on the plane
Awkward.
from Maui to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had an extended layover from LA to New York. He got on the flight and she didn't.
Right.
For that second leg.
Right.
And
so I'm assuming he was a person of interest.
oh yeah, but he was in New York City.
Well,
so they've got
yeah, after he got on the plane and she went missing.
yeah, that would be your first inclination, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Because she got off the plane and then
Well, oh, wait a minute. She was on the plane and then got off the plane.
Yeah.
And then he was, that's
Yes.
what I meant. So she didn't go missing there. She went missing after she got off the plane and he was right there.
Yeah.
And then
she ended up in LA.
got it.
And then from LA, he stayed in the airport. She left the airport, I think. And then he went to New York and she
I wonder if they
never
got into
got
a
back on.
fight or something like that because they've been break. It's that feels such like the most awkward thing ever.
very awkward.
Yeah.
Like she was like, I'm not going to be on this flight with you anymore. Seeing
Well,
you.
he's probably being a complete, douchewagon about it too, which, you're there's nowhere you can go. You're sitting right next to the person.
Well, I don't think they were sitting next to him, but maybe.
Yeah.
So I think on the flight from Maui to Los Angeles, they were not sitting next to each other, but maybe from LA to New York, they were.
And it was too much for her.
It was too much for her.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that she would have ties to Twin Flames, right? Because she had just broken up with her boyfriend.
And she's looking for true love. Yeah.
Yeah. And
What's my soulmate?
What's my soulmate? She thought he was the
Yeah.
one. And you know that time period in your life when you've just been broken up with and you're at your lowest, you're the most vulnerable for a cult.
Yeah.
Or for a mental breakdown.
Right. That's where those rebound relationships can get really dangerous and scary.
Is that what I am? In my rebound relationship?
Yeah. It's just,
Lasted over 20 years.
I can't quit you.
I can't quit you. You remember when you were young and not old?
I've always been old.
Feels that way. Ooh, we've always been old. She was just in a really bad spot. So she leaves the airport. He goes on to New York.
Okay. So they would have the evidence that he's on the plane and have the evidence that she got off the plane.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't him, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have been the cause of her getting off the plane.
Maybe.
The weird thing is that she got on the plane first and then got off. Mm-hmm. It's like she changed her mind. Or that was her intention the whole time.
To get out in LA and
Yeah, but she didn't want him interfering. So she waited till they were on the plane, and then he's like, what the hell? What's going on? She jumps off, to go do what she's going to go do. Because if she didn't show up, he'd be looking for her. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one that reported her missing, so.
Yeah, because she just left. So,
Yeah.
I know where she is. She's not here.
Yeah.
So,
So she leaves. She doesn't get back to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's seen kind of all over LA in some ritzy parts of town, in some Skid Row parts of town. She's seen just kind of all over LA.
yeah, so she's exploring LA.
Heavily surveilled city. So she's seen at a couple of metro stations. And she starts sending her family strange texts. So this is one text she sent them. She's feeling scared. Someone's trying to steal her money and her identity. And that she was in the Matrix. There's a couple of times we see mental breakdowns where people think they're in the Matrix.
Yeah, like Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get all those taters after us again.
Hater taters.
Hater taters. 20-year-old boys that live in their basement. Yeah.
Jeez.
So she is sending out these strange texts.
Mm-hmm.
And then her father comes from Hawaii to LA to look for her.
Right. And the unusual thing is her age, because when we were first going over this story, I thought she might be like 18 or 19 or, young and impressionable, but she's like in her 30s.
She's 30 or 31.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I can understand your, the concern, but it's also like, this is 30-year-old woman. And I'm wondering, did she have some issues before where the father's like, okay, I need to go out there because she's having an issue?
I don't know.
The whole father going out to go look for her is just, it's not odd to me, but it is kind of odd to me as well. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I can see it from a father's standpoint, but I can also see it from an outsider, like she's 30.
Yeah, but if our daughter was 30 and she went to a city and then we started getting weird texts from her.
That's true.
And then we didn't hear from her, and then her phone went straight to, like, we would be on a plane
That's
out there
true.
looking for her.
That's true.
I don't think it's strange at all.
Yeah.
I think, like, everything that happened, him going there to help find her, bring awareness to her going missing,
Right.
that just seems, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But once he gets there, he starts looking for her, and then he ends up dying also.
And it's self-harm, right?
Yeah. So he leapt from the top of the hotel building and they found him in the parking lot. So it's really strange.
Was he at the same hotel?
Cecil Hotel.
The Cecil Hotel?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be an interesting turn of events?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was on Skid Row, because the Cecil Hotel is definitely on Skid Row.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in a different hotel.
God.
So my theory, being a parent and reaching the end of your rope, is I bet he was trying to bring awareness. His death. So already people were interested just in the LA area, because here's a beautiful woman who goes missing in these very strange circumstances, who has ties to this crazy cult that we all know about because of where she is in her life.
Right.
And just the interest in it is everything that makes us interested in these mysteries.
Right.
It's a mystery. It's a beautiful woman. And we just want to know the answer to it.
Right.
And I think he reached the end of his rope and then thought, ending my life will bring more awareness to her, will help her. That's how I am interpreting what happened.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, but I've never been in this situation before, so I don't know how he would feel during it. But can I go conspiracy theory?
Yeah, go ahead, because a lot of people are.
Cool. So it wasn't Twin Flames directly that was involved. It was his soulmate.
Oh, yeah. His real soulmate.
His real soulmate.
His soulmate / stalker.
Yeah, right. So Twin Flames was like, well, we've got her now. So we need a soulmate for the dad. And you're the soulmate. So this person, probably a guy, goes and confronts him. He's like, well, if I can't have you, no one can, and throws him from the building.
No.
Damn. Okay.
No.
Well, I thought I was on a roll here.
No. I mean, it's such a strange mystery that's such a strange
I'm not
thing
trying to make light of the story. I'm making light of Twin Flames. And the whole, I just want to be very clear, because that it seemed kind of cruel to this guy, but I'm more talking the insanity of this Twin Flames thought process.
The crazies that are Twin Flames.
Yeah.
I feel that he was hoping that his passing would lead to her discovery. Like, it would make so much headlines that she would have to come out of the woodwork. Like, she would see it, and then she'd be like, okay, so in his mind, his death was more important than him being alive looking for her.
Yeah.
That's kind of how...
Yeah.
He just reached the end of his rope. Like,
that is what I think is that. I don't think in his mind, but again, we're going off nothing here.
Yeah.
But I would feel that it was more of, I'm at the end of my rope and I just can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or he slipped and fell and it was an accident.
He was so tired from lack of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the...
And he leaned up against the railing and fell off of it or whatever.
Blackout drunk.
Yeah. Because he's dealing with so much shit. Yeah. So it might not even been self-harm at that point. It just looks like it is because...
I don't know. Loss of a child is like one of the most horrific things a parent can go through.
Yeah.
And soul crushing. So
yeah.
I have the tendency to believe that what the LAPD is saying is true.
That he took his own life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So LAPD now is saying that she intentionally missed her flight to New York. And that feels right.
Yeah, well, because she left.
Yeah. She didn't want to be on the flight with that dude.
Yeah.
With her ex-boyfriend.
Or whatever the purpose was. Either it was because he was on the flight and it was way too uncomfortable, didn't want to be around him, whatever that is. Or she was going to meet someone in LA and it just didn't turn out the way she was expecting it to.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, her leaving the flight, that is kind of an intentional, I missed my flight on purpose kind of thing.
Yeah.
So good detective work.
Well, the family doesn't agree. So the family is coming out and saying, no, LAPD is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
what are they supposed to be doing other than they're looking for her? I mean, it's weird.
Yeah.
I think everybody says that too, like in those situations, because, we know that from whenever people are doing investigations that you don't get in front of everybody and you say everything that's going on in the investigation. So you give out little pieces of information, even to the family, because you don't know if the family's involved. They could be through all of this.
Yeah.
Who knows? This is coming from the standpoint of the police. You think everybody's involved until they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't want to give information to the people that could be covering up the crime.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we found this. And then they in the background could be rewriting the information or getting ahead of it, sort of thing. So you're very careful about giving information. So it looks like from the outside that the police are doing nothing because you're not getting information from them of what is happening.
And it's incredibly frustrating for the family, I would imagine, to be in this situation, just to have no answers and to lose two family members.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we see this with all these documentaries about true crime and stuff, is the family of the victim always says the police are never doing enough. And then you go to the police officer and they're like, yeah, we had, 7 people working 40 hours a week on this. And we had all of this information, but none of it was coming up with a clue. It's like they just couldn't give that information over to the family yet.
Yeah.
So it's got to be really frustrating.
Yeah.
Extremely frustrating.
So as of December 1st, 2024, we still haven't found her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's still missing and they're still looking for her.
So how do we know that there's a connection between her and Twin Flames?
So internet sleuths, they went through her.
You love that word, don't you?
I do. I love that word. Ever since that crazy lady said it. They went through her Instagram and found the connection there. And that's when the rumors started flying, and there's a whole subreddit, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Just because it's an interesting mystery. But the important thing about all of this is they find her, but also this is how these cults get people in their most vulnerable state. And she was clearly in a very vulnerable state.
Yeah.
So if anyone was going to be attracted to as horrific a cult of twin flames is, it would be someone like her.
Yeah. Someone that just went out of a, I wouldn't even say a bad relationship because we don't know, but we're assuming that it was, God, I still like, if that happened to me where I broke up with someone, but we had tickets together, I'd be like, I'll pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it's like breaking up during a road trip. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Like
yes.
across.
Yes. Yeah.
Wasn't that the guy that murdered his girlfriend in the van?
Oh yeah.
And then, they found him later in the swamps.
So that was a crazy mystery.
Yeah.
That was a really good mystery. Where was Brian Laundrie?
Laundrie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Traveling with an ex seems like a nightmare. Like a nightmare.
I mean, it's one thing to travel with someone that you broke up with a while ago. You could have rectified a friendship out of it. It's rare, but it could happen. But can you imagine that, like, we're taking a cross-country trip from Georgia to California, and in the middle of Texas, we break up?
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's a Greyhound trip, but what if you don't have the money to do it and you're stuck?
What if you get lost in LA and you miss your flight?
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, you just don't want to be in an airport with this dude. So that could be another thing. Like, you get off and then you just say, oh, I'm going to explore LA. And then it's LA. Something happens. People go missing in LA all the time.
It's any city. I mean.
Or she goes missing by choice. But
yeah,
if she went missing by choice, it seems that when she saw the news about her father, she would have come forward.
Unless she's in control from the cult and they're telling her.
Well,
and keeping information from her too. But it's a Zoom cult. That's why I'm like.
It's a Zoom cult, yeah.
It's really, that's why I'm like not really feeling that because, how do you control someone like that? Well, that actually is definitely could be possible too. If she found someone that's a member of the cult, supposed to be her soul, and now he's got control over her, which is a good possibility.
That could be it.
And that she was just indoctrinated enough to go show up at this person's door, and you don't know who this person is, but it's supposed to be your soulmate, and then now you're
stuck there.
You're stuck there being held captive.
Yeah.
And that stuff can happen, and that's the issue with these kind of like arbitrary, marriages or soulmate kind of stuff is that, especially ones that are focused around religion, is that you don't want to leave the person because you don't want to be looked at as, or in your own mind, a non-believer or like weak in the religion or whatever. I mean, yeah, I know this person's beating me, but if I leave them, then I'm not faithful to the religion. And that's where these issues can occur.
Well, the twin flame cult leader, he is Jesus.
Oh,
yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus loves marijuana.
I'm sure he does too. Sure he does. My goodness. So that's where we're at. We have no answers.
That's an interesting one too.
Interesting mystery with ties to a cult that's a horrible cult. In terms of cults, Twin Flames is up there as one of the worst. The fact that they put people in such dangerous situations and then they misgender them. And I mean, it's just horrific.
Yeah.
Kind of this cult.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, what do you do if you're a believer and you're told that you're not a guy anymore, you're a girl, you're a woman, and you have to go marry a guy or be with this guy against your will, basically against your thoughts.
The people look absolutely horrified and miserable. But
wow.
I don't know. I hope they find her. I hope we get answers to this.
Yeah, me too.
That's it.
I feel really bad about the father.
Yeah, I do too.
I do
too. My opinion is that he really felt like his passing was more important than his living, and that he could bring awareness or bring her out of the woodwork, or it would help find her, because he just had no other hope of finding her.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's kind of on a sad note. I wish there was better information to give on this one, but
It's a mystery.
maybe we will find some good news at the end of this, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
It feels like something's already happened to her.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. And I guess I'll finish it this time, but think for yourself and don't be a sheep.
Don't be sheep.
Have a good one.